Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the October Ordinary Meeting of Council. Could I request the General Manager make announcements regarding the live streaming of this evening's meeting, please?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The meeting is being live streamed and or recorded for on-demand viewing via Council's website. Attendance at the meeting is to be taken as consent by a person to their image and or voice being webcast. All speakers should refrain from making any defamatory comments or releasing personal information about another individual without their consent. Council accepts no liability for any damage that may result from defamatory comments made by persons attending meetings. All liability will rest with the individual who made the comments. The meeting must not be recorded by others without prior written consent of the Council in accordance with the Council's Code of Meeting Practice. Councillors and staff are obligated to declare conflicts of interest as required under the Local Government Act 1993 and Council's adopted Code of Conduct. Councillors are reminded of their oath of office, whereby they have declared and affirmed that they will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interest of the people of the Wentworth Shire and the Wentworth Shire Council, and they will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretion vested in them under the Local Government Act 1993 or any other act to the best of their ability and judgment.
Thank you, General Manager. Those who are able, could you please stand for the prayer and acknowledgement of country? Councillors, let us in silence reflect upon our responsibilities to the community which we represent and to all future generations, and faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in us to the best of our skill and judgment. We acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we live and work and pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. Thank you, everybody. Now, we have this evening a request for leave of absence from Councillor Evans, and we have an apology from Councillor Rodder. And Councillor Crisp will join us via live streaming from Broken Hill, which is a very convenient function that we have available. Could I seek a mover, please? Councillor Armstrong, seconded Councillor Beaumont, to note the apologies and applications for leave of absence. All those in favour? That's carried. Thank you. Are there any disclosures of interest? There being none, we'll move on to confirmation of the minutes. Would someone like to move the previous minutes? Councillor Nichols, seconded Councillor Weeding. Any discussion? All those in favour of confirming the minutes of last meeting? Thank you, that is carried. Item 6, outstanding matters from the previous meeting. Could I seek a mover, please? Councillor Starrick, seconded Councillor Armstrong. Any discussion? Councillor Weeding.
A few meetings ago, Councillor Rodder asked about a right-hand turn lane into the hospital. Should that be minimum in here, or we're going to advocate for that through Traffic New South Wales, if I remember rightly?
Was there a resolution or a question?
I don't think it was a resolution. I think it was raised as a potential issue.
If it was a resolution being nominated within here, so it hasn't been subject to a complete or holistic council action. So, excuse me, any memory of it?
I do remember it being raised. I remember that.
Raised. Happy to take it to the traffic committee meeting.
Sure.
And formally raise it there. There has been, we did have I have had a informal discussion with Transport for New South Wales regarding it, and their feedback was that the turning traffic numbers and the location wouldn't warrant, wouldn't satisfy the warrant for any work. That was just a comment back from them regarding that. I just raised it, but I'm happy to formally list that for discussion at the meeting with Transport
Investigations.
Yep.
Right, thanks, Director Gunn. Thanks for the question, Councillor Weeding. Any further questions? Those in favour, Thank you. That's carried. Item 7, I move my mayoral report. Seek a second of that. Thanks, Councillor Armstrong. Are there any questions?
I didn't get to the pump track opening on Saturday. Was that well attended?
It was well organised, well attended, fantastic, really good, and it involved a lot of community members from both sides of the George Chafee Bridge, and representatives there from the police and council, obviously. No, it was a great day, fantastic.
Great facility. Thank you.
Okay, move to accept my report. Those in favour? Thank you. That is carried. Nil reports from committees. We'll move to item 9.1, General Manager's report. Someone like to move the recommendation? Thank you, Councillor Starrick. Seconder, Councillor Crisp. Any questions? Okay, move those in favour of accepting the report. Thank you. That is carried. Item 9.2, the 2025 National Local Roads Transport and Infrastructure Congress to be held in Bendigo. There is a recommendation. Would someone like to move a motion? Councillor Crisp. You're on mute. Sorry, Councillor Crisp.
Oh, good. I'd like to move that we attend the meeting, which then leads us to determine who goes.
Thank you. So you just broke up a little bit. So you're moving that we attend with the usual option for 2 people to attend?
Yes. Now, in speaking to the motion and the history in here, Director Gunn...
I'll just get a seconder first. Sorry, Councillor Crisp. I'll just get a seconder. Councillor Beaumont. Okay. You've got the call. Thanks, Councillor Crisp.
I think there is value in attending this, particularly for Director Gunn, which reading here in the context of this report had in the past attended. The only complication may or may not be Director Gunn will be acting General Manager at that time. So perhaps a discussion about if we a little more information about perhaps from Director Gunn whether he would attend or whether he would have someone else attend.
To respond to that,
I'm happy to attend, subject to other responsibilities in the acting role during that period, at which time I'm happy to nominate either the works manager or the engineering manager to attend as well. But up to you, your call.
thank you. Anyone like to speak against the motion? Nope. I think I concur with the comments of Councillor Crisp. Given particularly we have active partnership with other councils now with the Sturt Highway Task Force, given that we've identified the heavy vehicle bypass around Mildura as a key national productivity set piece, it's important that we send a delegation here. So very happy to support it. Councillor Starrick.
I just wanted to add that as Director Gunn said, if he's not available, I think it's a great opportunity for the staff working under him to have that opportunity representing council as well if he's not available.
Indeed. Very, very good. So it looks like we'll send a council officer and a councillor to be determined.
I can't see the value in a councillor going to their contract. I have no problems if you send 2 staff, because Yeah, I just can't see the value in the council. With the cost of the car.
Thank you. All right, does anyone else wish to speak for or against the motion? I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Motion is carried. Thank you. Item 9.3, monthly finance report for the month of September 2025. Councillor Armstrong is moving.
I move the recommendation as written.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Starrick. Are there any questions? There being none, I move the motion. Those in favour? That is carried. Thank you. Item 9.4, the monthly investment report for September 2025. Is there a mover? Councillor Nichols, thank you. Seconded, Councillor Weeding. Are there any questions?
Probably one question.
Councillor Nichols.
On page 59, the drought resilience funding, I see it has, it's due to expire. Are we going to spend that? It's only 56,000 to 56. Oh no, sorry, not the wrong one. Obviously, the recovery grants up to 58,000 expired on the 36th. Has that been returned, or are we still going to use it, or?
Yeah, we've got till June next year to spend it.
Yeah.
So one of the 10 that you will be looking at this afternoon for the rowing club. Most of that work's been funded by that grant, plus there's a bit of stormwater work that we're doing as well, so that'll all be spent by the end of June.
It says here the 30th of 6/25, so that's.
Yes.
No, the OLG flood recovery grant.
Oh, sorry,
is
the.
6.
No,
The
sorry.
yellow RCIB, that one we've spent that one now. So the projects that we're working on have all been finished. So
Yes, okay, that's fine. It's just at 158,000.
Thank you. Councillor Bowman.
Yeah, look, I'd just like to run the page 71, the portfolio performance summary, that benchmark comparisons are all very favourable and above the benchmark, so it's a good result.
Yep. Thank you. Any further questions? I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Thanks, that is carried. Item 9.5. The motion. John, you're moving as.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I move the motion as written.
Thank you. Seconded, Councillor Starrick. Are there any questions?
Only a comment, Mr. Mayor, just to Director Rule and his team for compiling these with the auditors and the work that goes into them. Just thank you again for your diligent work in getting that done.
it's nearly finished.
Thank you for the comment, Councillor Armstrong. Any further? Sorry, Councillor Crisp.
Bottom of page 72, and given the dates, any time after tomorrow is suitable for Simon.
So what are you back, Peter? To
I could be around about 11 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Yep, so that's fine. Or first thing Friday morning, either one. If you can pop in and sign, that'll be good.
Yep, can do.
Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Crisp, and safe travels. Councillor Beaumont.
Yeah, page 95, just for clarification, refuse and effluent disposal, $11,000. Yeah, is that for the pumping up facilities?
Yes.
For all grade?
Yes.
Yep, okay, thank you.
Okay, no further questions. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Thank you. That's carried. Item 9.6, annual disclosure of interest returns. We have a recommendation to note. Councillor Starrick, seconded Councillor Nichols. Any questions? Put the motion. Those in favour? Thank you. That is carried. Item 9.7, use of information technology and communication devices policy. We have a recommendation. Councillor Armstrong has moved. Councillor Weeding has seconded the recommendation as written. Is there any questions? Does anyone wish to speak for the motion or against? I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Thank you. That's carried unanimously. Item 9.8, Code of Meeting Practice for Wentworth Shire Council.
Recommendation to.
Councillor Nichols is moving the recommendation as printed, option 2. Is that motion seconded? Councillor Beaumont? Does anyone wish to speak for the motion? Does anyone wish to speak against? Any questions? I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Thank you. That is carried unanimously. Moving Moving on to item 9.9, which is the Wentworth LEP planning proposal for some rezoning of RU4 land to R5 and introduce a minimum lot size 1,500 square metres at Golgol. We have a recommendation. Would someone like to move our motion, please? Councillor Beaumont, as printed.
Yes.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Councillor Crisp, thank you. Any questions? Does anyone wish to speak for the motion? Against? Councillor Armstrong.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Mayor. I need to note, I noticed in DPI's feedback on the submission regarding this, that they suggested a buffer zone be established between the change of zoning here and the future agricultural use. And I note in the long-term plan for Golgol that area to the north is essentially designated to go to, essentially to development as well in the future. I would like to see, though, that there be some impost on the developers in establishing green space in that area. So there's lots of development happening between Baronga and Golgol and not a lot of green space being constructed. I also think special care needs to be made when it does come to developing this area to ensure that no stormwater runoff affects the Golgol Creek, in particular the irrigators who use it, and that as we come to approving development in the future of this zoned area, that we put special controls on those developers to limit the amount of waste. If we look at the development that is currently happening off North Golgol Road, those residents who live on the eastern side of the creek from that development are picking up rubbish every day that's blown across from the building site across the creek. So fully supportive of the rezoning and this development going ahead, but I think we as a council need to be a little bit more responsible in how we encourage developers to treat this land and establishing green space for its future benefit.
Thank you, Councillor Armstrong. Would any officer like to respond to that in terms of those concerns would be picked up during a DA process? General Manager?
Yeah, the Baronga Golgol structure plan is under review in terms of open space and where we're at with that. So this is a little bit separate to that, and it guides the future growth and development pattern. The creek and waste is just policing and enforcement around the development. So I think by opening up this land, it sort of sets the future and the guidance and direction along that creek and up along sort of to from Kingfisher to Potter and surround. So I just think that it's house review. We're going to look after the additional permitted use of the existing shed there opposite Simonettas, and it'll be governed by the future development and the principles of planning associated with that.
And footpathing and things like that will come into this. Councillor Nichols.
My reading of this, and it's very, very good. Does that give us somewhere around 700, about 700 lots in Golgol? Still.
At least.
Yeah, 750 I thought, but yeah. Okay, so that's a fairly substantial lottage for people to take up. So, yeah, I mean, if you look at those figures, it's probably another 3,000. We're looking at 10,000 eventually. That'll take it up to the 5.5, probably.
Yeah, with the infill development through the current structure plan and this review and this, yeah, I mean, it's going to be well in the vicinity of 1,000 lots.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Nichols. Any further questions or comments? No, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Thank you. And that is a planning matter, so that vote will be taken as a division. All votes for and against will be recorded, and the outcome was unanimous. Okay, item 9.10, Development Application Determination Report for the month of September 2025. Councillor Nichols is moving that we note.
With a comment.
Yes.
We're saying its termination time was 51 days. That was only 51 days because the reports were very, very short. A lot of them are still very, very long, and I think we need to try and cut 96, 62. I think that's unacceptable.
Trend is our friend. So we've gone from month to month, 85 to 51, and hopefully we'll be on that trajectory.
Thank you.
Is the motion seconded? Councillor Weeding, thank you. Any questions? Councillor Starrick.
Just a question in regard to the point that Councillor Nichols raised about the average days. Would it be helpful to show that progressive trend in the report? I'll leave that with you if you think that's appropriate.
We don't know it's on the right trajectory and heading in the right direction. Yes, definitely.
We're very grateful to have this report. And
the obvious one you haven't asked me, how do you do one in 0 days?
It's still
Efficiency.
we want more of those, right?
I said they're pulling the other side.
Councillor, sorry.
Works in progress.
Councillor Weeding.
Just a question on the length of how long it takes for those development applications to go through. Is there a trend where people put in a development application and council have got to get back to them, and then it takes time for them to come back to make a change in it?
Yeah, you couldn't say it's consistent, but there's a lot of that. The quality of the application is sometimes a downfall of our turnaround time frame. Do they tick the box on everything? Hardly ever. And then from that, stop the clock. days. Yeah, in terms of referrals, that's a big one that takes a lot of time. We refer it out to agencies where it's sort of a more rural one or riverfront one and other bits and pieces. So there's a lot of learnings to be had, and hopefully we can improve on all of that.
So does the clock start ticking from the moment the DA hits the front office?
Doesn't hit the front office anymore, Councillor Bowman. It hits the portal. that's how the bug.
Or is it when the DA is actually complete and suitable for assessment?
Clock starts, gets reviewed, need for further information, clock stops. So it's a stop-start sort of mechanism.
Councillor Nick.
I don't know if the General Manager can answer, but on DA 25, page 404, removal of an existing garden shed and the construction of a two-storey storage shed. That sounds sort of a garden shed to a two-storey storage shed for 130,000 seems rather substantial.
I'll just remind councillors this report is, just bear in mind these are determinations made under delegation, so they're not. It's just for our information, not really to.
Just sticky beaking, really.
Yeah.
Similar package.
Okay.
Any further questions? And we're grateful to have the report, by the way.
Yeah.
I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Thank you. That's passed unanimously. Item 9.11, re-establishment of alcohol-free zones. We have a recommendation. Would someone like to move? Councillor Weeding. Councillor Crisp has seconded. Would anyone like to speak for the motion?
I've got two options.
I beg your pardon. Councillor Weeding. So there is options A or B. Which I'm assuming it's A, but
I think the recommendation is option.
Two, A and B, isn't it?
No, so the options are either we
Proceed with
establish
that
it
option
or
A,
don't.
yes.
so we're recommending to proceed with.
Option A.
Thank you. Councillor Crisp, you're happy with that? Thank you. Does anyone wish to speak for the motion? Or against? I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Thank you. That is carried. Item 9.12, the Road Safety Quarterly Report for July to September this year. And as we mentioned earlier in the meeting, it was a fantastic community day at the pump track. So thanks to Barnaby for this report and also all the work that the staff did to put on a great community event. Would someone like to move the motion? Councillor Armstrong, thank you. Seconder, Councillor Starrick. Any questions? Quick one to Director Gunn. Do you have any update on timeframes for implementation of the 60 zone extension in Golgol? I know we touched on it recently. I think you confirmed that it is in the works, but is there any update on that?
We have completed. They requested an estimate for cost of works. Transport for New South Wales have for us to remove and replace signage and remove and replace the road markings. We have provided that estimate back to Transport for New South Wales, awaiting their approval on our estimate to order and start the works.
Thank you. Okay, so I've woven that in there because it is a road safety issue and that was brought up by a couple of people at the community day. So
yep. So we have, council have completed all our requested information to go back to Transport for New South Wales, and yeah, we're just awaiting their approval and order to undertake the work.
Fantastic, great news. Any further questions? I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Thank you. Carried. After the DA report, this project and works report that's dropped back to our second favourite now. So item 9.13, the project and works report for October 2025. Would someone like to move that we note the report? Councillor Beaumont has moved. Councillor Nichols has seconded. With a question. Yes, Councillor Nichols.
On page 441, I asked earlier, who's the schedule to commence mid-October with Darling Street? It says it's going to be new edging and limestone crushed dust around a lot of plane trees, new cordon lace bins. Today they've taken out all the lights, the bollard lights that are in the street. Are we going to replace some sort of lighting to replace that? Because they're a significant size of light, and I don't know that they've worked for a while, but that's...
Thanks, Councillor Nichols. Question about the bollard lighting that's been uprooted along...
Yeah, the bollard lighting is being removed because it was non-functional, and with the underground servicing and stuff leading to those, it was couldn't be repaired. So my understanding is there is no plan to replace what has been non-functional lighting, bollard lighting at this particular point in time, and that due to the roots and the trees and everything that are currently in there. So with the work and the root barrier to prevent root intrusion under the footpath and to the buildings, is all that work's been completed. However,
just thinking for those who have shops along there, it may make it. I know they haven't worked for some time, but should they be working?
There are potential other options that can be looked at as far as surface uplighting that can be incorporated into the cord into the new footpath, and there are a solar type light. They are expensive. If that's warranted, but obviously the pads and the new bins have been in place and the project's essentially completed.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay, I'm just concerned of the how much light there's along there, and whether it's going to become a occupational health and safety.
Thanks, Councillor Nichols. Councillor Beaumont.
Just on the lighting, there is overhead lighting along Darling Street on both sides. So I think that
covers the road. Covers sufficiently the
shop. Well, to Director Gunn's point, the bollard lights were, pretty much non-functional. So the lighting along the main street at the moment, is could always be improved, I guess, but I think it's probably adequate at the moment. It might be that some of the trees need a bit of a prune back to, that are inhibiting the light get into the footpath, but there are overhead lights there.
So sufficient lumens for the night hours at the moment.
I suppose just on the same point,
yes.
Continue. We've noticed today there's been some excavation works around the base of the trees today, and I would imagine that's in preparation for the crusher dust. I'm just wondering, is crusher dust the best option to go around the base of the trees, given that it's easily picked up on shoes and carted into shop fronts and the like? There's been a couple of comments I've received today just in relation to the crusher dust around the trees and how sort of extensive it's going to be. Can you make any comment on that, and is there an alternative to crusher dust?
Look, I'd probably take that question on notice. I'm happy to review that. I'm sure there are potentially other options if that current proposal is deemed inappropriate, and I can come back with that other option or proposal, or take on board other feedback.
Yeah. So just to carry that on a little bit, we have had lawn pretty much right along the length of Darling Street, and whilst it's been a bit patchy in recent years, the grass does grow under those Canadian plane trees. So, lawn may be a better option than crusher dust. Anyway, I'll put it out there for consideration.
Happy to take that question on notice and discuss with the parks and the operations staff with regards to that issue.
Thank you, Director Gunn. Now, Councillor Weeding and then Councillor Crisp. Councillor Weeding.
I was just going to ask about AstroTurf or fake grass. Would that be a mix for a consideration? Or?
Yeah, there are those options available, which is the AstroTurf, which does allow the movement of roots and the like through there. Whether that is appropriate and stuff around the tree, it's certainly something that I've seen before. So, as I said, I'm happy to list a few different alternatives and come back to council for further advice.
All right, thanks, Director Gunn. Councillor Crisp.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Director Gunn, in that report back, I'm interested how we're going to get water to the trees. Crusher dust generally settles to be fairly impervious for water. So when in the report there, I want to make sure that the trees don't have to go looking elsewhere for water or struggle for water. Thank you.
Yep. Thanks, Councillor Crisp. Councillor Armstrong.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Director Gunn, just on the Midway to Gogo footpath upgrade, great to see that started. Just wondering if we could potentially over Drings Hill. Noticed this morning when I was going to work, people walking out on the shoulder of the road, obviously because we're working on the footpath there. And it's not a very particular wide shoulder. If we can get potentially some witches' hats or something, or delineation, just so as people still use that, that people still walk through there, but now they're walking the shoulder verge over the top of Drings Hill. If we get some delineation there, just so they're not as exposed to traffic.
Yes, point taken.
Yeah, that was just something I thought about this morning.
Raise that with the works manager tomorrow for action in that point.
Thanks, Councillor Armstrong. Any further questions? Thank you. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Thank you. Carried. All right. We'll move on to notices of motion, and we have an item here, 10.1. Councillor Beaumont, would you like to move your motion?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. As printed.
As printed.
I'll seek a seconder. Councillor Starrick, thank you. Councillor Beaumont.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. The intent of the motion is to provide a little bit more information to councillors around the progressive and total cost of projects that are undertaken by the Shire. We do have the quarterly budget review statement, which comes out obviously on a quarterly basis, which is very good and very comprehensive in its content, but it doesn't provide a progressive or aggregate total for any particular project. So I guess the intent of my motion is to provide a little bit more transparency to councillors so that we can actually look at a project and determine where it's at financially, whether it's on track, whether we've met budget, whether we've got value for money and all those sorts of things. Now, we've had some major projects over recent times, being the Caravan Park, the Civic Centre and the Baronga Waste Facility at the moment. They're big multi-million-dollar projects that we've undertaken in recent years, and going forward we have FOZO, which is underway at the moment at Logbridge Road. I think just in the interest of having some idea of how we're tracking financially on those major projects particularly would be very beneficial for councillors. So I'd like to put that motion and open for discussion.
All right, thank you, Councillor Beaumont. So the motion is indeed moved and seconded. Does anyone wish to speak against the motion? Councillor Armstrong.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. While I do commend Councillor Beaumont's motion, I think the desire for more transparency is excellent. I have some concerns about it, and primarily in two aspects. One is the cost of compliance. So in order to compile the data that the motion is requesting, in terms of the actual the requirement for staffing to do this, as more and more projects are on the go, and more buckets of money where these projects are being run from, I can see that requiring an increase in staffing in those departments just to manage our request for compliance here. The other one is, then the increase in staffing then becomes an increase in monetary spend. So we're spending more money to be more transparent, to be compliant with this motion. And I think the potential for this to overrun in detailing so many costs that we start to run into commercial in confidence problems as contractors are having costs exposed to competitors as they're undertaking project work. So while I do commend the intent to increase transparency of projects to councillors, I think that intent is good. I do have some concerns with it that would cause me not to support it in its current form.
Thank you, Councillor Armstrong. Now, before I seek another speaker for the motion, I might just on the back of that put a question to our director. The intent of the motion, if I was to sum it up in 5 words, is capturing the full cost of projects. That's 6 words. So you've outlined in your report some reasons that support that it's a good request, it's a sensible request, but there are some impediments to how you would deliver that. So do you have any suggestions of an alternative report that could still satisfy the aim of the motion? That's a question.
Yeah, I suppose my or the commentary that's been provided for the motion was I support Councillor Beaumont's intention. I think it's and the changes that have been made to the QBRS process from the OLG coming from the Minister is all around transparency and accountability. I just think that the intent of or how the motion is currently worded and the use of the contracts register is not really what the contracts register is set up for. It's a legislative obligation that we have, and to then use that for something that it wasn't intended for creates potential issues. So I think it's something that I'd probably need to sit down with and in conjunction with Jeff, because most of it's going to be coming from his area, is we have to come up with a different method that we can potentially put into the quarterly budget reviews to potentially meet the spirit of what Councillor Beaumont has raised going forwards.
All right.
It doesn't take up the potential administrative burden that potentially could come from the motion in its current format.
Okay. Thanks, Director Rule. Are there further speakers in favour of the motion? Councillor Crisp.
I'm pondering procedurally, Mayor, what we do at this point. We're in favour of the intent, and I'm debating whether to move an amendment to the motion to then ask, which the intent of that amendment would be to ask Director Rule to come back with a process that satisfies Council's request, as well as in a better way. So I suppose.
Are you moving that?
Yes, I'll move that.
It's
amendment.
Okay. Yep. That still maintains the intent of the motion. It's not the opposite of the intent of the motion, so that's allowed as an amendment. Just give our admin a moment to capture the amendment. And then I'll seek a seconder for the amendment once we read what it is. I think that's okay as it is. There you go. That to write a report that captures the intent of the motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'm happy to speak if it
Yep, I'll just grab
when it's ready.
Yes, thank you. So the amendment is that Council requests the Director of Corporate Services write a report that captures the intent of the notice of motion in a different format to the contract register. Is the amendment seconded? Councillor Nichols, thank you. Councillor Crisp.
Speaking to this amendment, Mr. Mayor and councillors, the report can come back and we can have a look at it and to ensure that it meets the intention and requirements we have. So I think this is a wise intermediary step to achieve the goals that the motion and councillors are seeking.
Thank you, Councillor Crisp. Does anyone wish to speak against the amendment?
I'd make a comment, but I won't speak against it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes,
Look,
Councillor.
yeah, I think the amendment that's been proposed by Councillor Crisp is essentially in concurrence with what I'm suggesting, and I'm more than happy for Director Rule to come back with something for us to consider around the council table. Just in terms of the point that Councillor Armstrong made.
Point of order, Mr. Mayor.
Sorry, would you
So you got to wait till you come back to that, right? So you just speak to the amendment now, not to my bit there. You can come back to it though. You have the right to reply after we move this.
So what we'll do is if the amendment gets up, then we will debate that as the motion.
We'll look into debate.
Okay. So does anyone wish to speak further for or against the amendment? I'll put the amendment. Those in favour? Thank you. That's carried unanimously. That becomes the motion. Would anyone like to speak to the motion? Anyone like Councillor Starrick?
Just endorsing the motion in terms of providing an option to ensure that it's operationally sound and maintaining the intent. And I think that's a really good progress. Yeah.
Thank you, Councillor Starrick. Would anyone like to speak against the motion? Any further speakers for? I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Thank you. That's been carried unanimously. Good outcome. Thanks for the notice of motion, Councillor Beaumont. All right, we will jog along now to item 11. If I could have somebody move us into adjourn into confidential, please. Councillor Crisp.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that council adjourns to a closed session and the recording of the meeting be paused, that members of the press and public gallery be excluded from the meeting of the closed session, and that access to the correspondence and report relating to the items considered during the course of the closed session be withheld unless declassified by a separate resolution.
Thank you, Councillor Crisp. Is the motion seconded? Councillor Weeding, thank you. All in favour? Thank you. Carried. All right. We shall spend some money.